Nathan reacts to CGI of how the Titanic sank. Summer week 4. What factors did the engineers of the Titanic fail to include in their engineering analysis?
Well, actually, the way it happened, this is actually very inaccurate. I was doing some research on it the other day, and apparently, during its construction, there was a fire, or where the iceberg ended up hitting. If it weren't for that fire, the Titanic would not have sank. So it wasn't a flaw in the design. It was a flaw in the mind of the person who, was running the whole business. He was big-headed and didn't want to lose money because of a small fire. If the damage from that fire was actually repaired instead of not even acknowledged, then those lives would not have been lost.
Where did you see a video of a fire? Because I've watched, I'd say, thousands of documentaries, videos, and studies on the Titanic. And there's never been any mention of structural damage due to a fire.
I can find the video.
This is fairly accurate to what they've discovered.
But they ended up doing some more people ended up taking a closer look at the wreckage, and noticed there was evidence of a fire on board in one of the compartments on the bottom.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me, considering it ran astern of and like 4 compartments were damaged, and the lower end of the ship
specifically burns and everything.
Yeah, but the lower compartments is where the engineers were, the fuel tanks and all that kind of stuff.
And actually, in some pictures, you see a slight discoloration on the boat itself, right where the iceberg ended up hitting.
Which makes sense. Like I said, I'm not surprised there was a fire, but that would not have a fire within the structural area, because the way it was designed is there's several compartments.
It actually weakened all of them before it managed to be put out. So because of that, if the fire did not happen, the Titanic would not have sunk. It was designed quite well.
It was designed that 5 compartments could fill with water without it sinking. However, what they did not anticipate, and they described this in what they were talking about earlier, is when they were designing it, it had an overflow. So like when you're filling a tray of ice cubes, right? But when they actually built it, they sealed the overflow, preventing the compartments from flowing one into the other. Instead, they just instantly filled all at once, causing the tip of the way it tipped. The excess weight in the front end snapped the ship in half.
Well, yeah, but if it weren't for that fire, the Titanic really would not have sunk. I mean, it was designed to be unsinkable. And it, by design, was. That little flaw, thanks to the fire, actually did a whole lot more damage than the guy expected.
Now, what did you notice in the video?
Well, besides that, obviously it would have flown apart, sinking at that speed, as well as that depth with that much pressure. But it wasn't exactly designed to go underwater.
Well, no, it's a ship to float.
Exactly my point.
What did you wonder?
Well, I have to say, there's nothing really to wonder for me.
For me, I wonder why they changed their design spec so inaccurately like that. If they had maintained the original design spec with the overflow, the water distribution would have been even throughout the entire ship instead of just the front 5 compartments filling like that. Because like if you have, I don't know if you've ever filled an ice tray, but you can tip the ice tray and the water flows out, which was the original design idea, which the original engineers designed it to do. But when they sealed those caps, they prevented that overflow possibility, causing the first 5 compartments to fill and none of the other compartments.
Well, I can see the logic behind that, though. With that overflow, sure, the weight would have been distributed evenly, but there would be more space for water to get, meaning more weight, meaning the boat would more likely than not sink. Plus, it could have also been a structural problem. It could not have been structurally sound in practice.
Well, originally they were designed to seal, right? The compartments it would overflow into the additional compartments, and then the compartments would seal, preventing any additional water from getting in. But because all 5 compartments were punctured in one shot, they all filled instantly, and the weight got stuck in one section of the boat, snapping the boat in half. But that would not have happened if their original engineering design had been kept. The overflow would have flowed off into the additional compartments that are there for that reason, and then sealed one after the other, preventing an excess of weight. If the ship would have been low in the water, but it was so tall that would not have been an issue.
Yes, but you also take in consideration the structural soundness of said design. They might have also capped them all to increase the structure, or due to that fire, or weakening the structural integrity. No integrity, and guess what? Crumple.
How did you feel?
Well, fairly neutral about this. The way it's sunk is accurate based on the information I've gathered, but honestly, I think people should be a little more updated on the information. Sometimes a new discovery can be quite interesting, actually.
Yes.
When it's something old, such as the Titanic, finding out it wasn't the design itself that ended up screwing it over. It was the big-headed, money-grubbing moron running the business.
Yeah. Money was a bad thing back then.
Still is.
Well, yeah, money is the root of all evil. Something I noticed in the video that I found fascinating, if you look at the... Here, let me back it up. I think it's about here.
Yeah. All right, let's put this to bed. There we go.
Something that I noticed.
Ships veering to port, go 22 knots, sideswipes the iceberg. Murdoch ports around the iceberg, try to keep from hitting the propellers. That looks pretty good.
Come on.
Okay, so now we're watching an accelerated
Okay, here. If you notice on the design of the ship, Okay, so each of these is a sealable compartment, all the way going back, right? Now, the ship was designed for 5 compartments to be able to be filled at once. And then overflow through here to the additional compartments to spread out the water flow, right? But if you look at, I don't know if you can see it from where you're sitting, how it's divided here. There's 1 compartment, 2 compartments, 3 compartments, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, probably about 20 compartments. And the way it was filling, because this cap was built in here that should not have been there, the overflow tanks weren't able to transport the water throughout the ship. And then if you look back here, hang on, let me just...
Actually, another possibility...
we see the first 5 compartments flood. They equalize.
Maybe the
pretty
change
quickly.
in the design was, yeah, again, to increase the structural integrity because of the fire.
Possibly. But what did you notice here? The overflow tanks? If you come closer, there's one there and there's one there. If this water had the chance to get to these overflow tanks, the tanks are designed to pump the water out of the ship.
Yeah, I know.